When you say your influences were 1 economy, 2 Gaza, and 3 border, what is your concern about the border? Like, what do you mean that the border was like your top 3 issue in voting? What do you mean by that? I'm interested to hear that, actually.
Guess you can about.
Oh, not mine. That's just how I think the election swung. Oh, I see. I got it. I mean, I actually don't think Gaza influenced the election that much. I think it did in Michigan, but outside of Michigan, I think most people did not vote according to Gaza. I think we're telling you. I think we're in a bubble on the internet, and it's a good bubble. I'm proud to be in it. We should care about Gaza. I don't think most Americans really give a fuck. You have to understand that, like, America has gone through, for most, not most, but for the majority of Americans, like, they've gone their entire lives listening to dehumanizing propaganda that tells them that murdering brown people in the Middle East is like the standard inevitable part of life. And that's not something that you should be upset about. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. I'm not saying this is good, right? We should care about what happens in Palestine. I care a lot about what happens in Palestine. I encourage you all to care about it all the time. But that's just the unfortunate truth. That's the reality. Is that most people don't. Most people don't. And I also think there wasn't a good option according to Gaza. I think if you would see more, Gaza would be a bigger influence if there was a candidate to vote for that could have won. You know what I mean? I think it wasn't an influence because there was no good vote for it. So you really can't. You know what I mean? If you're really concerned about Gaza, like, what are you gonna do? Not vote? Or like a bunch of people in the chat probably voted third party. I voted for Cornel West. Like, I think a lot of people did. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's suppressed turnout. Yeah, I think that's valid. I think that's valid.
The candidates, as a, you can just say the general environment too, but the candidates and what led you or someone else to vote one way or another. What role do you think the economy?
What up, Doodle Burb?
With detail. And last question, what role do you believe race and gender played in this election? What role do you think race and gender played in this election? Go right ahead.
Okay, here are the answers on Gaza. I don't think it was talked about at all. Texas Democrat in Arizona, but aligned with Bernie. Gaza had little effect. Harris is listening. Trump doesn't care. I voted Harris in Pennsylvania in exchange for 2 friends in blue states not voting Harris. Okay, I see how you went there. Florida Republican. Gaza did not affect my decision either way. Trump will end all wars. Health and inflation were number 1. Dude, people are so fucking stupid. Because neither did shit. I went with who I liked more. Virginia Dim voting for Trump. It did matter to me, but I was more concerned about being able to buy a house. Voted for Trump. Harder to be a full-throated supporter, especially as a Lebanese person. Still voted Harris. I voted for Kamala in Arizona. Always voted blue, but the establishment ways disgust me. Minnesota Dim didn't impact my vote since not voting. I can't read the rest of it. None for me. I'm very much pro-Israel, but anti-Netanyahu. Oh, that's cool. Ethan wrote in. That's cool. On the border, the right has a racist plan and the left doesn't have one.
He likes the racist plan?
Based. Wait, oops. On the border. Kamala had no clear policy stance on it, while I think Trump did, and that appealed to people. Lack of effective solution let Republicans control sentiments and visions for solutions. Republicans were angry about it, and Dems ignored it. Once again, anger moves people. True. True. I want to see white people in the fields farming our food and construction sites if they deport. Oh, so that's like they're saying, like this person just saying like, oh, it's not like white. They're saying like it's not like white people are gonna do this work. And I mean, newsflash: white people are already doing this work, but it is mostly like migrant populations. I think there's a lot of closet racists. I think they want everybody gone. Propaganda: migrants are the foundation of the economy. Total non-issue except to scaremonger based. Maine, Harris, or that's Maine, right? It was a campaign issue in Maine. We're as far from the southwest border as possible. Well, you're talking about Canadians. These Canadians entering our border, they're not sending our best, folks. They're sending Justin Bieber and Ted Cruz. They're not sending their best. I don't understand why so many rural Americans got convinced immigrants are bad. What happened? I'm from rural Pennsylvania, and my family and neighbors have been obsessed with this issue. On the economy, I think it was the determining factor for most people, even though our economy is okay. Alabama voted for Trump, spending $350 a week for groceries. My family of 5, insane. I mean, that seems, yeah. Number one issue: minimum wage up, tax the rich, health, etc. Most want this, right or left. Kamala didn't run on it. I'm from Florida. I voted for Kamala. Big: we all still feeling the sting of not being able to afford basics no matter what is said. Dems are too elitist in how they explain economy. Trump is populist and his lies appeal. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm the beast. I was like, family of 5, 350. I was like, all right. Major influence for the economy: working class homeowner raising 2 kids need a wage increase and a tax cut. What role do you think the economy played? Major and primary role. Inflation is devastating the working class. Inflation is down 2%. It is not an answer you can fool us with. CPI is a fake calculation of real family costs. Huge, but overall neither side really got into policies. It was more fighting about character. Dems talk macro econ success and ignore micro econ problems. People wanted bread and butter economics. What about race and gender? As a black woman, it always matters to me, but I know others don't care, as seen in the results. I hate when people say everyone who voted for Trump is uneducated and racist and sexist. Could that be? Yes. Yes. If you voted for Trump, you are a racist and a sexist. 100%. 100%. 100%. I think we got to get away from calling people stupid. At least Trump had the foresight to lie about ending all wars. I think if you fall for that lie, if you believe Trump, you're stupid. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, man. You're just stupid. And it's not their fault. Like, you know, whatever. Our education system sucks. They weren't given a better option. I get it. That one quote from FDR, whoever, that said when people are hungry, they'll support fascism in the hope of getting something to eat, is the most accurate description of why Trump won. Yeah, I can see that. I think it's also just like, again, like the Democrats didn't offer a story that explained the conditions at all. At all. What role do you think race and gender played in the election? Big. Lots of racism and sexism, especially in independent coalitions. I don't know what that means. For me, none. For most, more than we want to admit. My mother couldn't get behind a female. Ooh. Voted Dem entire life, but feels scapegoated and blamed for every problem. I'm a white male. Yeah, you didn't have to tell us. We know. I think it gave excuse for some to not vote for a woman of color while being anonymous. Fear-mongering with trans people was insane. They're like 1% of the population. Less than that, even. Harris, misogynoir, white meritocracy, pseudo-proximity to whiteness played a huge role. Huge. The female vote did not carry. White people felt attacked, and men felt attacked. Oh my god. And I think America hating women is a huge problem. And that's a very terrible mentality to have. I know queer people who are not racist or sexist in any way, shape, or form, but voted for Trump because of the economy. Dude, how can they not be racist or sexist in any form, but vote for a rapist who is promising to deport 20 million people? Like, Trump is a racist and a sexist. He's a rapist. What do you mean? I don't care if they're queer. Those people are racist and sexist. If they think immigrants are ruining our country. It goes back to that quote. I mean, no. No.
Oh shit.
Racism and sexism played a factor, but Kamala could have won this with better messaging. I think, yes, you're right. I would just say, I think there is a distinction between messaging and policy. I think with better policy, she would have won. If you didn't change the policy and you just changed the messaging, I think she even could have probably won. But I think she needed better policy. That was the problem, right?
Okay, so now that we've done all of that, and I've asked you all a lot of questions, I think it's only fair for me to say, do you have any questions for me? And I will continue to post some of the answers to some of the Q&As.
Oh, fuck, I have to type it on my phone. Okay, Kitten Cam's gonna go away for a second.
Kitten bamboozle.
I'm gonna say, what did you get in exchange for campaigning for the Harris campaign? A lot of us felt betrayed to see you. Oh, wait, I can't type that much. I gotta be way less. I gotta say way less. Bro is yapping. I know. So what have I said? What did you get for us or Gaza in exchange for campaigning for Harris? Anything? That's not that great of a question. At what point do we recognize the DNC is never going to support progressive policy? Why? Yeah, that's it. I'll just say that. I'll just say that. Okay, here, that was my question. I sent it. I sent it. Okay, Cat Cam coming back.
In mood?
Have you named the kitten? No, we have a few names in we have a few names that we're considering. Wait, why isn't this working now? Connection has been lost. Yeah. Here, I'll play this while I do this.
That you all posted. But I also wanted to create an opportunity now that we've shared a lot. Is there something that I can share with you that you're curious?
So you're keeping it then? No, we're still trying to find a home for him. Please help us. We're still trying to find a home for her. So if you want to adopt a kitten, give your child the best Christmas gift of all time, please reach out. We're trying to find a home for her.
About. Personally, I don't. I think that a lot of voters.
Do you buy the argument that woke loses elections? Example, saying Latinx. Who says Latinx? Who says Latinx? Let's be fucking real. Who's saying this? I had a Blue Anon chatter saying their vote was manipulated and wasn't counted along 4 other people they asked. People are trying to cope and find a reason when it's just people weren't incentivized by Kamala. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's actually hilarious.
Really don't like fake people, and they're sick and tired of fake politicians. And so what I actually think is worse is saying something you don't believe. And so if during the entire time in campaign season, you're saying that you're down with trans people or like the LGBT community.
I don't think land acknowledgements are, I don't have a problem with land acknowledgements personally. I genuinely don't think people do Latinx. Most Latinos that I know, like, think that it's stupid and don't like it. You know, I just don't think it's I don't think it's something that like people are doing.
And then you lose an election, and then the next day you say all that stuff was wrong. I actually think what people are more upset about is someone was doing something they didn't believe and just saying something. Like, if you actually weren't about that life, why did you campaign as though you were? That, I think, is the actual core issue of the problem. Now, I will say, as I've said yesterday in my stories, that I do think that there are some things that the left and that an activist left.
Scarlett, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Are people in the chat? I can't read every message in the chat, but are people like talking about Jill Stein in here? Are people talking about Jill Stein? I didn't even see that, right? Oh, Mac is? Oh, Mac is talking about Jill Stein? Yeah, Jill Stein is not a fucking serious person. I agree with Scarlett. Yeah, nobody cares about Jill Stein, dude.
Do to ensure that they remain committed and disciplined, that we remain committed and disciplined to grow.
Also, wait, what the this kid, he's dreaming, dude. This kid is dreaming. He's snoozing. Out cold, dreaming of a better world. Dreaming of a better life.
A mass movement. And there are pockets of the left that are sometimes the most amplified online that are built on a policing structure and
true
culture. And those elements can drive people away, put them off, etc. I think we saw a lot of that this year. How much is
also, though, we shouldn't take like, it's ridiculous to say that like this is a leftist problem, because it isn't. The truth is that the right is worse on these fronts. The right is just as bad at this like cancellation, tone policing, language policing shit. The left is, or the right is worse, if not just as bad as the left. The problem is the left has no power, The left has no power, and so these this shit doesn't matter. But go into a Republican meeting, Go into a local Republican meeting and talk about say the letters DEI one time and find out how quickly you get canceled. Go into those spaces and advocate for trans people and find out how quickly you get canceled, how quickly they police your language. Tell them your pronouns and see how quickly they all like collectively lose their fucking minds. This is not just a problem on the left. It's not. It's ridiculous to insinuate that.
Is genuine.
But she's right. And we talked about this on the panel with Peacefire Now this weekend, which if you guys don't know Peacefire Now, definitely go follow Peacefire Now, one of the best creators on the left in this space on Twitch. I was on a panel on his stream this weekend where we talked about the Trump presidency and how we can fight back and how to combat doomerism. And one of the things we talked about was this, like, it was in the context of Olayemi. Okay, we were talking about Olayemi and the shit that Olayemi was going through, and like everybody getting really, really like pissed off and being really just like not being generous with Olayemi, right? And it was really frustrating. And I said on that panel how, you know, I think a lot of people on the left fall into this trap where because we've grown up in a society that values like punishment and prisons and carceral systems, when we are harmed, when harm is happening in our spaces, in our circles, in our lives, we rush to reproduce those carceral punitive values that we have internalized, right? And like we want to essentialize people as the worst thing that they've ever done, you know, and there's nothing, you know what I mean? Like that's how the prison industrial complex treats people. And if we want to build a world that is post prison industrial complex, if we want to build a world where prisons are obsolete, we have to start changing the way that we interact with each other in a significant way. We do. It's being generous with people. It's like looking at a person for their entire output. It's understanding that where their heart is coming from. You know what I mean? Like it's all of this stuff, and like recognizing that harm is going to happen. Harm happens. I wish we could create a world where nobody was ever harmed, but it's not going to ever come. I'm sorry, it's not ever going to happen. And so therefore, what do? How do we build a world in which we can restore justice to a place where harm has occurred and not create more harm in a response? Our system, our carceral way of life tells us to create more harm. If we punish them and that person that did the harm, if they are in turn harmed, then now everything is like just, right? We've righted a wrong in the world. We know that's not true. We know that does nothing to prevent a future harm. It doesn't do anything to solve or to rectify the harm that was done in the first place. Like this is a really critical thing that you have to understand being on the left, is to like, you know, take everything that a person does in their full capacity, you know, and like be gentle. Olayemi is not somebody that's your enemy, okay? Olayemi had a bad take. I don't agree with Olayemi's take on the election. Does that mean that I think she's a lib? Does that mean that I think that she's evil? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If Olayemi is not a part of the world that we're fighting to build, I don't know if I want to be a part of that world. You know? It's fucked up. What are we doing? Like Olayemi is one of the people we should be listening to the most right now. And it was so frustrating to see most of Haas Twit, a lot of people on the left in our space just like throw her under the bus the fucking moment that she steps out of line with your ideology. It was so gross. I was just like, this is so annoying. Be gentle with people. Allow space for people to be wrong. Meet them where they are, you know? Who? Olayemi Olurin. She's a prison abolitionist and like activist in New York. And she's fucking great.
genuine and how much isn't genuine, I think is a legitimate question. But, you know, that's different than fighting for people.
Yeah, for real, Emilio.
Very few, almost none.
You believe that there's still trusted guardrails in place to stop Trump? If so, what are they? No.
I think people need to reckon with the fact that the Supreme Court ruled that a president can commit crimes in office. Just straight up. So.
Ooh, that's a big stretch. Ooh, that's a big stretch. Tiki, tiki, tiki.
We have each other, and we will work really hard and throw sand in as much gears as possible. But it's important to understand how serious this situation is. And how important it is for us to care for each other, be positive with each other, be generous with each other, and not turn on each other further.
I actually think this was good. I think this is actually a good discussion. I think she said a lot of stuff I agree with. You know? I thought it was decent. I thought it was pretty good. Okay, now let's move on to an announcement, chat. AOC is a Fed? Yeah, I'm no fan of AOC, but I thought that was a good discussion, and those are the discussions we need to be having. Yeah, and some of the answers were enlightening. I agree. I think we need to be having those conversations. Shumari, thank you for the sub. 6 months. Let's fucking go. Welcome to the Directors Club. You get the Directors Clapper. Hey, where are you going? Hey, where are you going? Oh yeah, anyway, I wanted to say, chat, if you guys are enjoying the stream, if you enjoy leftist content on Twitch, we are in a very unique moment right now. I'm sure you guys know a lot of people are being banned. Twitch is adding content labels to our stuff. We are in a new era of McCarthyism, and it's a very real thing. Our space on this platform that we all love and enjoy so much is constantly being threatened. The best way that you can combat that is to support the streamers that you watch. Not just me, but all of the streamers you watch. Grimlow, Sean the Black, Rhizome, Bo, Mike, everybody. Once they get back, Denims, you gotta support people who are making this kind of content and creating these spaces on the internet, because we don't know how much longer they're gonna really be around. So I highly recommend you guys join the Discord. Grimlow said he's lost about 90% of ad revenue from the new tag. Yeah, I turned off ads entirely because I was seeing that, and I was seeing that too, and I was just like, fuck it. King Henry, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Peacefire Now, thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you. Does it not autoplay ads though? I mean, you tell me. Unsub chatters, have you seen an ad on my channel tonight? Have you seen ads on this channel? Yeah, I don't see it. Dubbin says I don't see ads. Cafe says nope. Yeah. Yep. It's because of the content classification. It is. So, I mean, it's whatever. I never made a shitload of money on ads ever anyway, so whatever. But yeah, exclamation point Discord in the chat. Join the Discord to keep in touch with us. Thank you, King Henry, for the gifted again. And yeah, please consider subscribing and supporting. I'm still at 60-40 split for my revenue on Twitch. I would really love to get to 70-30. The way that happens, Saeed, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. King Henry, thank you for the gifted. Die Happy Music, thank you for the gifted. Whoa, thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, the way that happens is by individuals subscribing. So I need 300 subscribers, individual subscribers. Gifted subs, unfortunately, do not count. I need 300 people to individually subscribe to the channel for 3 months in a row. So we did it last month, but we got to do it this month too. Tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 subs help extra. So if you feel like, hey, maybe I'll gift 5 gifteds right now, consider doing a tier 3 sub for yourself instead, because it really, really, really does help the channel a lot. Okay, that's my plug. Oh yeah, and if you were gifted,